Hey guys, it's Dennis, the founder of Think Hero.
And I'm David Griffin, your resident comic book and video game guru.
And this is our review of True Detective, the season finale, but it's really like a series finale.
Yeah, series finale, Form and Void.
Because it's an anthology series, so this story ends.
Right.
True Detective as a TV show is going to continue, but this storyline is over. So in essence, it's almost like a series finale. I really liked it. I think some people will probably hate it. And then some people, because some people are looking for something else in this series that I don't think that this show ever really said it was going to be like, but I think some people were thinking it was going to be more like twisty and more like
Twin Peaks, kind of like Twin. I mean, I think people were looking. There's a lot of fan fiction that's been coming out lately for this. A lot of conspiracy theorists and things. I think this was really about, these two detectives. These, I guess you could call them broken knights. These guys finding some measure of peace in their lives, or some measure of, I guess you can call it joy. I was surprised. I was like, is this kind of a happy ending?
Oh, it is.
It's a very happy ending.
Well, not in the context.
Not like, hey, life is perfect, woo! But I mean,
it's very optimistic in the end.
Right. I mean, it's such a good ending. I liked it that those guys actually found hope. The show's so dark and bleak. I mean, kids in microwaves being burned, and little kids. I don't know what was going on. Murder with pedophilia. Yeah, just all this dark.
It's very dark, bleak, and the character of Rust Cole, played by Matthew McConaughey, is very nihilistic.
Right.
But in the end, you kind of find out he actually isn't that. That's his, like, what's his face? Errol Childress, the guy who ends up being the man with the scars.
Take off your mask.
Take off your mask.
Yeah,
you really aren't this nihilistic guy.
Right.
You're actually secretly an optimist.
Yeah, I love that at the end when he's, I don't want to say he found God or found faith, but he found that he believed in something more than just life as a circle and we just go around the drain and just doing the same thing. I mean, he felt his daughter's presence waiting for him, which is cool. I mean, he found something to live for beyond, just like we're all here and then we die. I mean, he found something else.
Which you kind of know in a way, even though he's been talking all this nihilistic stuff, very bleak, very dark, you have to always wonder throughout this whole series, like, okay, if you really believe that, then why are you even trying to do any good,
Right, yeah.
Like, if life is just life and it sucks, like, why even attempt to do any good? Because in the end, it doesn't really...
Why be a detective?
It doesn't really matter.
Just kill yourself now and get it over with. Yeah.
Exactly, or just, do something else.
Right, yeah.
But deep down, he was actually an optimist, he, with the whole story about the stars, telling Woody, or like Woody Harrelson, telling Hart, hey, like, it's actually...
The light's winning.
The light's winning because it started dark.
Right, yeah.
And to me, what it's really saying is that, yes, there's a lot of darkness around, but you can't just do nothing about it.
No.
And even if, like, in the end, they didn't catch everyone, right?
No, especially the rich guys, like the guy, like the senator or whatever. He's like, they got the hillbilly guy. They got the hillbilly guy.
That there is some sense of, I wouldn't say justice, but purpose.
It's what do you call it? He called it like their victory. It's our win. It's a win for us. It's not, we didn't get everybody, but we did what we needed to do. Because Russ always said, like, we have a debt, we have this obligation, and they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, and what are you supposed to do instead? Do nothing?
Right.
See, that's the thing. If you do nothing, then it's going to be even worse. So in the end, Cole is kind of an optimist.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pleasant ending. I mean, and then let's look at Hart. I think the thing is because Matthew McConaughey's having such a good year. Everybody's calling this the McConaissance. So he still has Interstellar coming out, Christopher Nolan in November. I think sometimes we forget that Woody's doing a great job in this role too. He's put on. I mean, Woody's been good for years. We know Woody's good, but he's doing a great job too. And seeing him at the end with his family, I like. They said, like, how are you? And he's like, I'm good. Like, I think I'm pretty good. Like, he wasn't 100% sure, but he's like, yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm good. I mean, he just did such a good job. I love that part when he checks on Russ in the hospital, and these, and Russ is just like, don't talk, and he's like flicks him off on the way out. It was just, he did a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when he starts to break down because he's finally showing his family who he is.
Yeah,
Instead of saying, because that was the problem with him and his wife and his family was, oh, everything's fine.
Right, yeah.
I'll just hold everything in to myself.
Right.
And he had a moment, I mean, sadly it's too late. I mean, his wife is married to someone else.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And his kids are kind of, not really in contact
Right,
with
yeah.
him. So he's finally showing some of his true self, but
Right, yeah.
a little late. But maybe there's some redemption in that, and he can get closer to them. So yeah, with the serial killer's house, that was really creepy. I mean, first of
Yeah.
all, he's married / having sex with his half sister,
Right, yep.
who is basically almost like a moron. And he actually, even though he comes off like this hillbilly guy,
Then he goes in that British accent, and
he-
I'm like, what?
I think he's actually much more intelligent
Yeah.
than you think, but his mind is so twisted up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he starts doing all those different accents.
Yeah.
But I think he has a much, he can't be doing all these serial killings and getting away with it if he
Being
was stupid.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But the house was creepy as shit. I mean, with
Yeah.
all the like
dolls and
Yeah.
dirt. It just looks so like
nasty.
the nastiest place on earth. That like tub full of, I don't know what was, like, oh, it was just bad.
Yeah, it's gross. And then where
Yeah.
they kept the dead dad's body and.
She was
and-
talking about you haven't like planted the seed in me in a while or something. I don't know.
No,
It's
the
like,
flowers. Like
yeah, you
haven't
haven't laid your, like,
Oh, yeah.
Woo! Yeah, that was rough.
gross. And then we get to see Carcosa finally.
Yes. Yep.
And it's like these empty ruins in a sense. I don't know exactly what they are.
Yeah, I think.
They're-
I mean, in real life, I think it's an old bunker.
Uh-huh.
I believe it's an old bunker, but it was cool. We got to see like all those miniature, those miniature stick figures, and see it in full size now. The actual maze he was going through, and just kind of leading and taunting Matthew McConaughey. It's almost in a way like he was ready for it too. The guy, Childress, like he was ready for this confrontation at the end. This
Yeah,
fight.
he led them into Carcosa.
He could handle himself too, just throwing axes and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, dude, he's tough. He's a tough dude.
Fighting, yeah. And then almost killing Cole. I thought Cole was dead.
That's I mean, because he just ripped into him. I mean, that was a rough scene.
Yeah, and then
rough.
McConaughey got away with his headbutts.
Yeah, you got to do it. Headbutt always works. Yeah, it works. Yeah.
And then I like that Hart came to the rescue in a
Uh-huh.
way, and then Cole came to the rescue
Yeah.
too.
It's got a little bromance at the end. It was good. Those guys were there for each other, and again, just kind of leading to that more positive. Like I assumed, yeah, like you said, I thought Hart was dead, but in the end, I'm sorry, Russ Cole. I thought Russ Cole, McConaughey was dead, but then in the end, it all works out for him. So.
Kind of.
Well, as good as it can. I mean, it's like those guys are going to stick together. Hopefully, they're not going to abandon each other, which is good.
Yeah, there's a good little bromance there.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, it was actually good to see that it was Hart that kind of came to realize the clue of how to find Childress.
Right, 'cause they always kind of made him seem a little stupid compared to Russ. And I'm like,
Yeah.
he can't be. He's a highly trained like detective. He can't be stupid. But yeah, that was his moment to shine.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
for the most of the series, it's been Cole like, oh, I found this and this
Right,
is
yeah.
that, and
Right.
we need to follow this lead and whatever. And it was actually Hart
Right.
that came up with that green ears thing, and then with the
The paint, finding the paint,
the
and go talking
paint.
to the woman. Yeah.
That's what eventually led them
right.
to Carcosa.
I really like that we got to see the serial killer's perspective. For the entire series, we've always gotten the perspective of either Rust or Hart, and I like that we got to see as weird and as kind of sickening as it was, to see the serial killer's perspective, to see his motivations. He was not so much a character, like a character you could relate to, obviously, but more. I think he was more of like a representation of just systemic evil. I mean, because there was that one line he said, "You don't know what they've done to me," or something. I mean, he's just like I think he's more of a representation of just what evil is and how
And
bad
also,
it can be.
he was affected. It was that whole like cult that
Right.
ingrained a lot of these things in his head
Right.
and kind of perverted his mind and
Right.
turned him into this serial
Right.
killer. His dad was part of this as well, but
Right.
then eventually he took down his dad, and
Right.
his dad's like dead, all chained up in there.
Yeah, and like
Decaying.
his mouth was sewn shut, and like the completist in me wants to know the whole story. Like I'm more interested in what the senators and that big past, the guys that live in the mansions, like what's their story? Like how do they contribute to this? But I know the story's not about solving all the mysteries. It's
Well,
about
that's the
characters.
thing,
That's
is then you have these other people who are upset about the ending because it didn't solve all these mysteries. You know, I saw in was it our comment section, or maybe it was like comment section of a different website, where someone was complaining about like, well, we didn't find out about who Maggie was married, or not was Maggie his wife's name?
Yeah,
Who
she got remarried, right.
Who is she married to?
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's not about,
Like,
yeah, right.
who, that has nothing to do with the show. She married someone rich, it's obvious.
Yeah, she's doing well, money-wise anyway. Yeah, it's not, I mean, the show is about these guys. That's all the show's ever been. That's the characters in the periphery are there. They're not really important. Maggie, in the end, I love, Michelle Monaghan, but she's not really that important to the story at the end. At the end, it's Russ and it's Hart at the end.
Yeah, and then a lot of the people were complaining, saying, "Oh, it should have been Woody Harrelson's character or Matthew McConaughey's character should have been the killer." I'm like, why?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is the show never. I think people read too much into the show, and they wanted it to have these like twists and turns and all this stuff like that.
Right.
And this show wasn't that.
Yeah, there's crime fiction like that. This isn't that version of crime fiction.
No.
I think because of all the crime fiction shows out right now, I think like with Broadchurch and The Fall and all these shows, like you see, there is a resolution to some degree at the end. There is. They find out who the killer is. They find out everything's solved. Everything goes back to somewhat being normal. But this is a story about these two guys' lives that just happen to revolve around a murder, but the murder isn't the primary focus.
And also comes to a logical conclusion. And it wasn't, someone else, other people were saying, well, it should have been like Hart and Cole really the same person. It was a split personality. It's like,
this is not Inception. This is not like, is he dreaming? Is he not dreaming? I mean, this is not Inception.
People wanted like all these things. They kind of placed all their projections of what they wanted this show to be, and so some people were disappointed. I really liked the finale.
That's the toughest thing with shows. That's the toughest thing with finales. I didn't watch the Lost finale. Obviously, I only watched the season 2. But Lost, Battlestar Galactica, Spartacus, what Game of Thrones will eventually be. I think with the finales, I think we all have these, and I'm guilty. I'm sure you're guilty of this. We all have these ideas of what it should be, but it's really hard. I think I'm never going to tell anybody how to watch TV because everybody watches TV different ways. You should watch TV and movies and everything the way you want to. That's your personal thing. But when you watch it, I would always tell everybody, try to be open-minded. Let the show do something to you. Don't put your perceptions into it as much as you can. It's almost impossible not to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
I do it. I do it all the time.
I was kind of disappointed with the BSG ending and the Lost ending. Even though there were some good things about it, I ultimately wasn't totally satisfied with either one.
And this show is not. I mean, this show is not so unique. It's like I don't want to praise. I love True Detective. I don't want to praise it so much. Where I'm like, this is great. I mean, it still had the same tropes. They get out of the car. Oh, we don't have any cell service. Oh, it's like, come on. I mean, it's like it's the same things you see in every other car. But I mean. I think what I'm going to remember the most about the show is just the acting, just the performances of Woody and McConaughey, just how well they did together. The show itself was shot well. The story was interesting, but I mean, I don't know. If we're talking miniseries, talking anthologies, I don't know if I like it more than Band of Brothers. Much different show. I put it on that level. I've got
Band of Brothers, Generation Kill, and now True Detective on my miniseries Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Hall of Fame. Yeah.
And this is another thing. We can't. It's
different shows.
Well, it's also hard to compare this to a regular TV show because then people are saying, well, how does it compare to something like Breaking Bad? You can't compare it because Breaking Bad is 5 seasons.
Right.
This is 1 season. The story's done.
Right.
You can't, you can't really compare. I mean, you can, but at the same time, it's a little different.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of good shows out like this. I mean, if you're feeling a void, yay, Foreman Void, no pun. You know, with that the episode. After this, look at Broadchurch, look at Hannibal, look at The Fall on Netflix. I mean, there's so many serial killer dramas that revolve around a town, a people, a group of people, and how it affects their lives. There's a lot of good shows like this out right now. It's a good problem to have. Top of the lake.
The Killing is not the quality of this, but The Killing is similar.
If you want quality, like I said, Dennis and I both made this comment. Top of the Lake has the same cinematographer as True Detective. It's a beautifully shot show, and it's shot by Jane Campion, who is a filmmaker. She makes movies typically, just like Fukunaga typically works in the film medium. So there's just a lot of good shows like that now.
I just bought the Red Riding Trilogy on Blu-ray. I'm going to watch that. It used to be on Netflix, but they took it off, so I'm going to watch that. That's a UK serial killer. It's 3 movies, 3 different directors, but it's supposed to be the same story.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield, Sean Bean, a bunch of great UK actors in it. All right, guys, so that's what we thought of the True Detective finale. What did you guys think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you looking forward to next season? And what do you want for next season? Because obviously Same actors are not coming back.
No.
The same writer is. I don't think the same director is.
No.
So it's going to be a totally different story with new actors.
They actually said that they're not going to do one director again. It's going to be multiple directors.
Yeah, multiple
Surprising.
directors.
It's also going to be about hard women, and it's going to be about the
I think
transportation system. Probably L.A. I'm assuming. Like there's like these cults and different weird conspiracy theories of the transportation system around LA, so it's probably going to be, I mean, it should be good. I'm glad to have hopefully some female leads this time.
Yeah,
too.
I don't know if it's going to be 2 female leads, but I think at least one of them will be a
nice.
female lead.
Yeah.
And someone has suggested maybe Cate Blanchett.
Oh, wow.
I mean, because she won the Oscar, Matthew McConaughey won the Oscar,
so
people are like,
Oscars, yeah, Oscar was right.
Of course, we'd all love to see that. So yeah, who do you guys want to see in this next season, and what do you think it's going to be about? You can post your comments below on the website thinkhero.com, on our YouTube page Think Hero Pro. Make sure to subscribe to that.
Those are going to chat with us on Twitter. Let us know what were your conspiracy theories? Anybody doing any fan fiction? What is your Carcosa? Well, hopefully don't think too deeply. That's a little weird. Too weird. Let us know what you think about all that at Think Hero. I'm at Griffin DE.
And we also have a Facebook page. That's facebook.com/ThinkHeroFans. And make sure to like that page and share our video. And check out. We're gonna have our Game of Thrones reviews coming soon, and other shows that we're covering as well.